Good evening, everyone. We are in Suzuka for round 10 of season 9 of Apollo Racing Club's Tier 1 for the Codemasters F1 game. I am Hollers, and this week I am joined by Evie. How you doing, Evie?
I am good, Hollers. Thank you so much for having me here this evening. We're here at Suzuka, another round, the Japanese Grand Prix. This 3.6 mile long circuit is very quick. You're hopefully going to see a lot of action this evening. I don't know for you, Hollers. I don't know if you have any predictions early by looking through the standings from last week.
Yeah, so I've actually got the standings up. Let's go over those real quick. I'll go through the top 10. We've got the Action in first place by 11 points, followed by Gore with 164 points to Action's 175. X-Max is in third with 125. SoCal in fourth. RRK Lawrence, running only 2 races, winning both and getting fastest lap in both, is in fifth. Smithy 6th, Ginger 7th, QB, otherwise known as Aslan 8th, NYK 9th, Rogue in 10th. Take those down. We've got drivers out. We've got Gore out on an out lap, so I'll follow along with him while I get my telemetry set up here real quick. In terms of predictions, I think we're going to see more spins than we typically do. The curbs at this track in this game are much more deadly than they have been in the past, especially in the S's. If you get on them just wrong at speed, you're going for a spin. So I think we'll probably see a safety car. Someone will probably hit the barriers somewhere in the S's. Hopefully fewer safety cars than last week at Australia, where we had very few finishers, but we'll see. And if anybody's trying to access the telemetry, I have the app running on my desktop, but the website appears to be down. I'm not sure what the technical problem is there. How about you, Evie? Any predictions?
Definitely going to see Gore definitely send it here on Suzuka. He is wanting to win the championship this year. Max is somebody who can also be very competitive here. And we have a couple of new guys in the Mercedes. Calculus is here this evening, so maybe somebody to look out for as well. Rogue also is always in the conversation. So 14 drivers. You never know what can happen here at Suzuka, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in ARC in particular, we have one of the most famous moments as Gore starts his flying lap, going through the S's, going 5 wide into turns 1 and 2. There's a GIF that I believe we've uploaded. I can't remember what the search terms are. Oh, it's Gore goes drifting. But so Suzuka is usually a fun one in ARC. Gore's getting a little out of shape here. This is not going to be a clean lap from him. He's obviously pushing real hard. He's got, I think, 11 points to make up. And speaking of the number 11, I said this was round 10. This is round 11, our penultimate round. So we've just got 2 rounds left. So let's see, Gore's sector time. He's about to finish up sector 2. He's using all this track, but he is definitely, I think, going to have to redo it.
Yeah, he put up a 32.5 in sector 1, so he is quick. Sector 2, a 39.9. The Aston Martin behind him, Max, putting up a 32.49 in sector 1. So Max quicker than Gore early here in qualifying, and Gore crosses the line.
3 from Gore. Yep, I'm on with Max. So it's a pretty good benchmark from Gore. High 129. I think he's got some time in it still. As Snowman, he's joining us from Tier 2. Sets a 30.7, so he's 1.4 seconds off the pace. But like I said, even though he's our championship leader for Tier 2, his pace might not be quite as similar to the leaders here in Tier 1, as Max is coming through, what is this, the Casio triangle, I believe, this chicane here. And he sets a 29.3, so few hundredths off of Gore. So Gore, even though he was getting a little bit loose, still set a pretty good time, it looks like.
Ruda currently on a on excuse me, not Ruda, the Red Bull of the Action, currently on a very quick lap right now, put up a 32.4, a fastest Sector 1, a 40.3 in Sector 2, so actually slower than Gore's time by about 3/10. So he's definitely looking to improve. Coming across the start-finish line goes P3 at 129.4, so he's definitely in the mix. He's going to be looking to improve, but he did put up a purple Sector 3 with a 16.9.
And just as the Action was coming across line, NYK on the mediums came through just about a little under 7/10 slower, but he was on the medium, so that's a pretty good pace, I think, from NYK on the harder compound. Let's see, who do we have on a lap? I see an Alpha Tauri. I think that's going to be Rogue. He's on a hot lap, going through the S's. Well, something we might have missed, Kaginis and Calculus are both retired from the session. Did you happen to see what happened? I see a white dot, so that appears to be a retirement in the pits from Kaginis, and I also see a teal dot for a Mercedes, so I don't think they crashed out. I don't know why they would have retired without setting a lap time.
So Calculus could have potentially had an accident and gone into the wall. Keg, I think, didn't even set it. It didn't even go out on track. So that is what I'm seeing here. I knew I saw Calculus earlier in the Mercedes, but decided to not put up a quali lap or had an accident. So currently Ruda going P4, a 129.7, NYK with a 130.1, Stewie 3K a 130.3, getting that 6th spot, and SoCal Blazer with a 130.4 in 7th place.
Feline Phenom says she, in her name, is learning wheel. She's on a 145.8 on the medium, so she's well off the pace, but I think she might be learning on the fly. As Rogue sets a 134.8, but I know he abandoned his lap. I saw he was recharging. It looks like he's going for another fast lap. So we'll follow him as well, as I think he's the only driver on a hot lap right now. Although NYK or Hawaii, yeah, NYK is out still on the mediums. I'm not sure if he's on another flyer. Let's see what Rogue can do. He's usually one of our faster drivers here in Tier 1. He's not had the greatest season. A few unfortunate DNFs and accidents have thrown him down the order a little bit. But he last week was keeping up. I think he got P2 right behind RRK Lawrence, who is got the greatest pace in Tier 1. He's a reserve. He's only a few tenths off of Lawrence. So that shows you what Rogue's pace is like. Kaginis in the chat says he didn't retire in pit. He crashed himself. We all love the curbs in this game. So the curbs claimed a victim already. As, Rogue goes for a spin. Speaking of curbs claiming victims, coming out of the spoon. He's still going backwards. He needs to stop that or he's going to get disqualified. Stops in the middle of the track. Looks like it's safe. So he avoided terminal damage. I think he might have even avoided any damage whatsoever. So that was a good save there. As we've got, let's see, is NYK on a flyer? No, he's low on fuel. So he's coming into the pits. Feline Phenom, she has improved, it looks like, to a 131.8, so she shaved 15 seconds off her time, but she's missing a wing. Everyone else is on an out lap or in the pits. Let's see.
Right now, Gore with the fastest Sector 2 time, a 39.9. Is still on pole position. Max does not have any purple sector times, and the Red Bull of the Action, 2 sector fastest sector time, Sector 1 and 3. So he is definitely in the mix, but he's getting Sector 2 pretty slow if he's only sitting in P3 with 2 fastest sectors.
And his teammate, the Action's teammate, Stewie 3K, I believe this is perhaps his first race this season. Stewie had a bunch of scheduling conflicts due to some work stuff in real life. Thankfully, Stewie's finally able to join us, so welcome back to the Action, Stewie. Hopefully he can help Red Bull eke out the constructors during these last 2 races. As Gore goes through the hairpin, Comes up pretty clean. This looks like a cleaner lap than his first lap. Let's see how he handles the spoon.
Track must be getting just a little bit better as well. 32.1 for Gore in Sector 1. So has a purple Sector 1 coming down through basically the fastest part of the circuit.
Coming up to 130R. He's improving by almost half a second. So all he has to do is keep it clean, keeping it flat through 130R, braking around 75 meters for the triangle. Coming out of the chicane, take it as tight as he can, almost cut that final corner. And he's going to set, I think he's going to be in the low, mid 128, 128.6. Let's go with Max, see if he can answer back.
That is a time to beat from Gore. So 3 fastest sectors. Max currently putting in a lap. Has not improved, it looks
he's
like. I can't
17 seconds off his pace. Looks like he abandoned his lap. Saw him weaving, warming the tires back up. He's charging up his battery too. And it looks like he's got enough fuel to go for another lap. So he's going to set this up to get a nice long run down the main straight. There's the DRS lap. So yes, he is going to go for another flyer. Hopefully he's got the fuel. See the red blinking indicator there. Only Rai, one of our now retired Tier 1 drivers. Saying Suzuka has great camera angles. I do like the camera angles on the TV camera view here. It's very good, much better than some other tracks.
Yes.
Ooh, Max getting a little squirrely, yeah.
Got a little bit of oversteer coming through. Well, basically a part where you don't want some oversteer. You can definitely lose it going into the wall as Max now approaching the hairpin. That was Dagner corner.
Yeah.
And he almost lost it. And basically, almost. He just.
Ooh, road retires. It looks like he lost it in the S's. My prediction was right. The S's claim a victim.
Max still getting out a little bit wide coming through Spoon.
What's going on in the S's? We've got like 4 cars off the track. We've got a Red Bull. We've got an Alfa Romeo. We've got the Red Bull of the action. I don't know what happened. Let's go on Max.
Snow has had a problem as well. Looks like
Max
coming into the pit lane.
So Max did not finish that flyer. Action did improve, it looks like, on his last lap to a 129.1 up to P2. NYK, he was one of the cars who was involved in that carnage. So I'm not sure what happened. I think he's going to set up another lap here, although he's still going. He's going to improve, I think. Yeah, to a 129.3 to P3. So, good showing there from NYK. Action is on an in lap. Smithy, I think he is on a flyer coming through the Degners. Yeah, he's on a flyer. A little he's charging up now. Perhaps. I saw the red light flashing. Yeah, he's charging. So he's abandoned that one. How about Feline Phenom? She's coming through the Degners. Looks like she's on a push lap. Let's see if she can improve yet again. Takes a good late apex there on the hairpin. It's what you want here at the hairpin to get a nice drive into this flat out section leading into the Spoon corner. This is one of my favorite corners here, the Spoon corner. It doesn't look tricky, but the descending apex makes it much more challenging than it looks. I really enjoy it. It feels good to get it just right. As we come up to 130R, as Feline's improving by almost a second, so it'll be almost good enough, maybe to get her to P9, depending on how her third sector goes. Takes the final chicane a little wide. As I mentioned, you want to cut that. Basically, want to cut that chicane. She does improve by almost a full second, but stays P10. Let's see. Gore's on an out lap. NYK is on an in lap, so let's go on with Gore. He's going to be the only one to set a lap. He comes out a little early. Got about 3 minutes left. With a lap time in the 130s, you can afford to come out about a minute later. As he lets his teammate through. I guess Feline may be going for another push lap. But so Gore's going to go, I think he's going to try to go for, he may be fueled for more than one lap, I'm not sure. You think Gore will go for more than one push lap here at the end to see if he can?
I think so. I think he's not quite comfortable with that gap between him and the Action. And Action can find that time anywhere. Clearly, he does have pace in his Red Bull. So NYK is also somebody who could definitely put up a really quick lap time. So there's gonna be definitely some push laps for sure.
So he'll come up to the line. He's warming the tires up through 130R. He'll hit the line probably with about 1:45 left in the session. So that will give him the chance, if he messes this lap up, to cool down, recharge the batteries, and go again as he comes through, opens the DRS flap, and starts his flying laps. He's got 1:55. So to improve, let's see, he comes through turn 1, turn 2. This is also a really fun corner. Turn 1's flat, but you've got to keep it straight, even though it's technically a corner, to go into the braking zone of turn 2. Otherwise, you'll lock up trying to get into turn 2. Very cleanly through the S's. Exiting here, keep it clean. This, you got to kind of just touch that curb, but it'll send you in spinning if you hit it going too fast. Coming through the Degners. You also, keeping it just within the track limits, coming up to the hairpin, and good apex. I think Gore's setting a good clean lap. After Gore finishes, we'll go on Max. I think Max has the pace, but he's blown a couple of flying laps. Coming through the spoon, go out wide, come back in. Good apex there, and exit as well. I think this will be a great lap from Gore here. Let's see what his Sector 2 delta is. He's improved by 1.6 tenths, so 1600ths. Pretty good improvement on an already good lap. So he'll be in the mid-28s. Finishes up the Golden Triangle, or the Casio Triangle, and sets a 121.5. So that is the mark to beat. Looks like
right
Action
now,
is...
I was about to say Action is coming through on a very quick lap as he rounds through a spoon, coming up to 130R. Right now, puts up a 32.4 in Sector 1. Not quick enough, but in a personal best. Across the line for Sector 2. Does not improve in Sector 2, a 40.0. As he comes into the chicane now. Gets right over the bumps. Keeps the car planted, though, coming through. Doesn't lose the rear. Gets right back onto the throttle and opens the DRS wide open. And goes. He does improve. He does not improve. He put up a 129.19. So sectors 2 and 3, he did not improve whatsoever.
Let's see what Max can do. He's finishing up his lap. He's going to hit 129.2. So he improved by a little over a tenth up to P3. What can NYK do? Because he's getting a little bit of a tow there from SoCal Blazer and the Williams. He's improved by almost 3 tenths. So he could potentially get into P2 if he can finish up Sector 3 nice and cleanly. Let's see what he can do. Comes out of the Casio Triangle, opens the flap, and he's got a 128.7 P2. It's a good lap from NYK. Let's see, Action's done. Ruda, I think he is under AI control as well. Well, no, he's done a lap.
Okay, he's going.
Let's see how Ruda does.
He does improve in Sector 1 at 32.3. Comes out of Sector 2. He is absolutely one.
4 tenths improvement. So he can get into, if he does a really good Sector 3, he can maybe take 3rd, more realistically 4th or 5th, as I see a couple Red Bulls trying to get out of his way. Gore retires from the session. Obviously doesn't want to hold us up. He improves by 4 tenths to P5. decent improvement, and everyone has set their final laps. So we've got Gore on pole, followed by NYK, Action, Max, Ruda, Smithy, Stewie on his return in P7, Sir Snowman out of Tier 2 in P8, SoCal in 9, Feline Phenom 10. And then we've got Rogue, Hawaii Life, Kaginis, and Calculus rounding out your starting grid. The bottom 4 who did not set times or DNF'd will get a free choice of tires. Everyone else will be starting on the softs. I don't think anybody set a fastest medium time. So Twitch chat, what do you think for number of safety cars in the race? Let us know in the chat. What do you think, Evie? How many? 1, 0, more than 1?
You know, I have faith this time. I've been harsh in some other times. I'm gonna say 0. I'm gonna give these guys benefit of the doubt. All right, I'm giving them the benefit here.
We did see some of the curbs claim some victims, including Rogue. So I think we will have a safety car. Hopefully they can keep it clean down into turn 1 on race start. Alex the Terminator says 1. Kaginis says 6 laps without SC. Is that the first 6 laps, Kaginis, or 6 laps total in this race? Need some clarification.
It's not gonna be that bad of a race. I don't know why people are afraid of this track. It's not the most difficult track out there.
It's very hard to pass, but it is super fun to drive. It's narrow. It's an old school circuit. It's only got 1 DRS zone, and the rest of it is a lot of fast corners. So they are on the formation lap. I was really quick to the formation lap. So I think that's why a lot of people don't like it. Just because it's so hard to pass. If you get alongside somebody, you've really got to put a lot of trust in them, because there's barely more than 2 car widths of asphalt in most of the areas of this track. As we see, choice of tires, we got Rogue, Hawaii Life, and Kaginis on the mediums, and the rest of the field on the softs. And Kaginis gives his clarification. He says, of course, total 6 laps under green flag conditions. Kaginis, if that happens, I don't know if I can make this happen, given that I know you live an ocean and a continent away from me, but I will buy you a pizza if there's only 6 green flag laps in this race. Or whatever your favorite dish is. I'm not sure if you're a pizza fan. I know, Kaginis, that you're a chef, so just tell me what your favorite dish is, and if we only have 6 green flag laps, I'll buy you whatever it is. As Gore slows up a little bit on the formation lap here, he was kind of flying. He realizes it's probably to his benefit not to sit on the grid too long and cool his tires. I don't know if we've talked about it yet, Evie. What are you thinking for tire strategy? 1 stop?
Yeah, you could definitely pull a 1 stop here. We're seeing, those medium runners. They're definitely going to be looking at a medium soft for these soft runners. Definitely a soft medium could definitely happen. We'll potentially see early pit stops. We'll be very curious to see how long these stops can really last. Sometimes we see guys, you can go about 8 laps according to the game, but some guys might want to push them to 10.
Yeah, that's definitely a gamble for these medium runners, as Hawaii Life and Calculus are disqualified from the end of the formation lap, and Hawaii Life has left the session. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like probably touched during the formation lap. That'll instantly disqualify both the offending car and the offended car. So, but only right is right. I do follow through on my pizza promises, unlike Pfeiffer, Mr. ARC himself. As they're forming up the grid here. So let's see if we can keep the start clean. I'm going to go on Let me go to the back of the grid. Let's go on to Guinness. Not a great view. How's Rogue? No. Oh, here we go. This is a great camera on Feline Phenom from her cockpit. Looks like she's underfueled as well. 5 lights on. It's a long start light. They're away. All right. Feline gets a very good jump on Sir Snowman. That's a great start from her. Let's see.
Lead still. NYK making a challenge.
Yeah, I think we got a clean start, guys. Very good job. Kept it clean through turns 1 and 2. Let's see. Gore has already pulled out a 7/10 gap. Looks like Gore maybe went for a higher downforce setup. He's setting a very good pace through the S's. The action is falling back as well. Smithy is only 2/10 off of Max, though, so I'm going to go on to Smithy here. Looks like he backed off going into the Degners, though. Snowman up to P6 after a little bit of a slow start. Let's go on to the position change. So, big winners at the start. Smithy's up a spot, Snowman up 2, Ruta down 2, Feline Phenom up 2, Stewie down 2, Rogue up 1, SoCal down 2 to P11, Guinness and Calculus each up 1, and Hawaii Life DNS to the Piers.
Right now, Ruta trying to make a pass coming down into 130R, goes on the outside of Sir Snow right before 130R and gets the move done, so he moves up to P6.
As Snowman's trying to fight back through the Casio triangle, and Ruta spins. I'm not sure if he got spun or if that was his own mistake.
Looks like he got up on the curb there and just lost it coming through the exit of the chicane.
I'm not sure if Snowman left him the space, but we'll hear about it one way or the other, I am sure. All right, so Gore's almost out to a second up in P1. Max is trying to keep touch with the action, about 5/10 off. That looks to be the closest. No, Rogue. Rogue is hot on the tail of Feline Phenom. Going around the outside of the S's, man. Trying to pass the S's, gets it done on the mediums. As I mentioned during qualifying, Rogue does have pure pace and apparently some cojones trying to go through. As Feline goes off track through the Degners, recovers it well though. But yeah, trying to stick it around the outside of the S's as we have yellow flags in we got a VSC. And that's for SoCal Blazer. Looks like he lost it through the Degners. I'm not sure what happened there.
Hawaii Life also was disqualified?
Yeah, he was disqualified from the formation lap, and then he left the session. So I guess that registers as a DSQ. SoCal Blazer says in Discord, that's what happens when I don't get any practice. So it sounds like an unforced error caused SoCal's DNF. It's unfortunate. Let's see anything going on in Twitch chat. This is too civilized. I don't like it from Tier 2 driver tours. We've got Chipsy, Vance, and Only Rye all trading insults as the VSC ends. DRS is now enabled. Pretty much right on time with the way that VSC ended. So the action appears lost some time under the VSC, probably not wanting to get a drive-through on the Delta, as Max is now right on him, and Smithy right behind him, as we can see it from the tail cam. Stewie is making inroads on Snowman through the exit of the S's as they come to the Degners, and we've got yellow flags in Sector 1 for, is that Rogue? Rogue is DNF'd. So there's 2 DNFs, one caused by the Degners, the other caused by the S's. Rogue, if you are in the Twitch chat, let us know. All right, back to the racing. Not a whole lot of going on. We've got a bit of a parade already forming here. Yellow flags in Sector 2. It's going to be for the Red Bull of Stewie 3K. Turned around in Spoon Corner. Rogue says that he short shifted to 7th coming out of the S's and still lost the rear. Fix your game, Cody's. You should not have enough power to spin the rear wheels in 7th gear. Anyway, Max closing up on action with the DRS, but not quite close enough.
Smithy right now, he's gaining on some time onto Max.
Calculus goes down the inside of Guinness. Gets the move done there, up into P8. He's up 6 spots. I believe he started last, 14th. So good showing so far from our reserve. Calculus. Right. Bigger gaps pretty much all throughout the field now. I think Smithy and Max are probably the closest. Smithy, Max, and the Action are probably the closest battle on track at the moment. So we're going to ride on with the 3 of them.
Max doing everything he can just to really stick within the Action's DRS here as they come down into Spoon, and this is where you definitely need to have your DRS. Well, you're not going to have the DRS, but you're going to have your ERS ready to go. So you got to save his energy. Looking at Max's energy, he has it on. He has overtake available, so he's going to use it as much as he can for here. Goes down to about 50. Go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Action's burning a little more battery. He's, I think, though, saving more for the DRS straight so he can defend from the overspeed that Max will have, as NYK and Gore trade fastest laps. So NYK is trying to reel in Gore. Action is able, I think, to fend off Max for another lap. So the front here is staying pretty close. Let's see what the leader gap is. So the front 5 are all within 3.5 seconds of each other. That's fairly close for this iteration of F1 cars. And then the rest of it, we've got some big gaps forming. Snowman is 6 seconds behind Smithy. Feline, 4 seconds behind Snowman. Calculus, though, is caught up to Feline as they come through the Degners. And Calculus is still closing up. Let's see who gets a better exit coming out of the Degners. Looks like Calculus does get the better exit. Breaks a little earlier coming through the hairpin, but gets a very good exit. Although it looks like Feline's pulling away a little bit. So he'll have the DRS. He's got 55 battery. Feline has 56. So they're both being conservative with their battery. Feline, though, is underfueled, so she's certainly hoping for a safety car to save her some fuel, because in this iteration of the game, because of the regulations they implemented last year, in real F1, you cannot change fuel modes during the race except under virtual safety car.
You need to get right over to this battle with Max. Max is trying to send it on the outside of the Action, but Action defends nicely. This battle for P3.
Oh, we've got NYK off track in the gravel trap. Lost it in the S's. Probably touched a curb. That promotes Action to P2 and Max to P3.
Maybe?
Sorry?
Nope, looks like he's just waiting for the cars to go by. He is losing position after position after position, falling down all the way to P10.
P11.
P11.
That's really unfortunate. Falls out of the points after a really strong quali, and he was really making up ground to our leader. As things stand right now, I believe NYK still has the fastest lap. So Gore, if the race ended right now, would gain 8 points on the Action, closing the gap to 3 points for the championship. Max is certainly putting pressure on Action. Action is usually Mr. Calm, cool, and collected here in Tier 1. He doesn't really try to outdrive the car as much as some of the other drivers here. His goal is really just not to make any mistakes, and he usually makes that strategy work very well. Getting a podium for pretty much every race so far this season, and very few track limits warnings and penalties overall, as Max does get the move done with DRS. Action didn't really defend much there. I think he knew Max had him on pure pace. So Max gets done, and he'll be looking to try to break that DRS as Calculus does finally get around Feline, and NYK pits. I assume that is for a wing. Let's ride on with him for the pit stop. Let's see if he's getting a wing. No wing. So he's just maybe going for the undercut. He's gonna have to make these mediums last quite a while. So NYK is the first to blink and pit. As Action is falling behind Max a little bit, almost 9/10 already, as they come out of the hairpin.
He is saving a little bit of battery. He did have more battery than Max did when they came through turn number 1, which makes sense why Max was able to get by looked like super easily coming down the front straight. But Max, he's going to put everything he has here. He has about 40% ERS. Going to use that overtake one more time just to continue to grow the gap. But that might haunt him. But the Action also using his, trying to keep in that DRS range as they come through 130R.
And they're coming up to the detection point, and Max just barely broke the DRS. I believe Action will not have it. Let's see though. There's the line. Nope, no DRS. So that's huge for Max. He can now maybe conserve a little more battery. Let's see if he can build that gap, as Calculus is still trying to do his best Lewis Hamilton impression in the W12. Trying to go from last to first as he goes. P5 gets around Smithy with the DRS. Snowman gets a 3-second corner cutting penalty as a Ferrari and is that an Alpha Tauri collect each other into turn 2 and getting Guinness in on the action as well. Remember, folks, no ghosting in Tier 1. Stewie and Feline Phenom now fighting here for P7. I think Stewie's going to be able to get the move done. I imagine Feline's got a little bit of damage after that incident, but we will see.
Looking at the damage, looks like 13% front wing damage, so she will have to come into the pits at some point, but definitely a good timing on that, though, because it'll be time to pit for new tires here shortly.
Yeah, so she'll lose a little bit of time with lower front downforce. In this game, for those who haven't played it, the most minor front wing damage will cause massive understeer in this game. As Max has pulled out a 2.5 second gap already to the Action as they're coming through the line. So Max really benefiting from that clean air, 3.8 seconds as Gore takes back the fastest lap, which I believe would put him even on points if the race ended right now with the Action. So Action just needs to hold on to P3. He would have Gore on a count back because I think he would have the most. Well, actually, no. Gore might have more P1s than the Action. I'll need to look at the standings.
Feline Phenom coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, let's see what compound of tire she chooses. We got the Ferrari pit crew. She had a 5-second penalty. It appears she's going to go on the hards, and Ruta is in as well. Let's see, what does Ruta decide to go on to, as NYK takes fastest lap on the mediums. And so Ruta's going to go on to mediums. So Feline really gambling on the late race pace. The hards in this game are usually not the right selection. Their pace is just not there. They feel like you're on ice. But I think she's hoping that by the end of the race, without further safety car, the relative delta and grip comes her way to maybe make up a few of these positions she lost, serving that penalty and having that spin out with and wing damage. Let's see, is Gore going to come in? No, he stays out.
Max is coming in though.
Interesting. I don't think it's quite. Oh, he gets a 5-second speeding penalty. That's going to be huge for the Action because Action is within 5 seconds. If he can stay within 5 seconds, as he goes on to mediums, as does Max. So if Action can stay with, oh, he got a new wing. Looks like that would explain the pace delta that he had to Max. Looks like he had wing damage. So now Snowman is in P2, but that's not a net P2. He'll still need to stop. Calculus P3 again. That's not net. But Calculus is really making up ground. He's only 2 seconds behind Snowman. So Calculus is really putting in work here. Snowman not really using his battery either. Being 17 seconds adrift, the leader, you might want to start pushing that overtake button. So we got huge gaps. Yeah.
P5 chasing down Smithy. He came out right behind him actually, so he's about 2 seconds away, and he'll definitely gain that time back with the tire advantage, basically with a fresh medium tire.
Yeah. So looking at the tires, we still got Snowman, Gore, Calculus, and Smithy on their original softs as Gore pits. Gets it under the speed limit coming in. Let's see what compound he chooses. I imagine this late it's gonna be the mediums. Yes, he doesn't need a wing. So he'll come out. I think the pit stop loss here is around 20 seconds, but Snowman comes in. Calculus stays out, and he's gonna come just ahead of Gore. But Gore's gonna have free air. He's about 2 seconds behind Calculus, so that really won't hold him up, I don't think, too much.
A little time on the Gore. That gap when they pitted was 3 seconds. Now Max makes it 2.5 seconds.
And that's even with I believe Max served a penalty, did he not?
Yeah. No, that was not. That was speed line.
Oh, that's right. Because I believe Max still has his speeding penalty. Yeah. So
yes,
that shows you the strength of the undercut. I think he gained about half to a full second by pitting a lap earlier than Gore. Gore's already made up ground to Calculus, though. His action is into P4, so he's going to hold the same net position, but he's now 11 seconds adrift of Max, so that penalty is really not going to play much of a factor unless the action can really start pumping in the lap times. I think Guinness might have held up action a little bit because Guinness is not yet pit. We've got yellow flags for Ruda, who DNFs in the S's. Let's go on Feline Phenom, see if we can see what happened to Ruda here. Feline's got to be begging here for a safety car with all these DNFs to get her fuel back into, and there, yep, outside wall, first S. Unfortunate for Ruda, so everyone who finishes today will get points. As Gore makes quick work, I believe, of Calculus. Calculus doesn't really fight that much. He knows this is not his battle. All right, so now the test is going to be how quickly can Max dispatch of Calculus. I don't imagine Calculus is going to try to hold up the leaders. Doesn't really benefit him much because it will just slow him down relative to the other folks who have pitted. But sometimes that doesn't stop people. NYK is right on Smithy's tail. Let's see here. I think he's gonna have to wait another turn of the track to get it done, but maybe he'll try to throw it down on the inside of the Degners. No, I've tried that move. It never goes well. So smart from NYK. Degners sometimes seem like a good place to try an overtaking move, but it hardly ever works. NYK is also underfield. And now, so he's right on the cusp. He might need to lift and coast a little bit to get to the end. Max is now coming through the Casio triangle right behind Calculus with his DRS flap. There it goes. I thought he might have opened it late as Gore pumped in the fastest lap. Takes it back from NYK. Calculus does come in, so Max got some free DRS there. And I believe Calculus is on mediums. So we've got everyone on mediums now.
We have a battle here coming out of the chicane between Smithy and NYK. Smithy defending hard for P7.
But I think
and here comes NYK.
He's going to have the move done, I think. Yeah. As Calculus comes out of the pits right in front of them in P6. So Calculus is going to look to get those mediums into his operating temperature and pull back away from NYK. So Calculus is up 8 spots. And I think he got most of those done without the benefit of the 4 DNFs so far. Well, 3 DNFs and 1 DSQ. Do I hear some bumping and banging between NYK and Smithy, perhaps? I thought I heard the bumping sound effect, but maybe that was just the curbs. We've got some real gaps forming here. Max is losing ground to Gore. He's now 3.1 seconds adrift. Action's keeping in the 11.5 second delta. Guinness on 12 lap old mediums is 5.7 seconds behind Action. And then Snowman another 2.2, Calculus 3.6. NYK is making up ground on Calculus on 5 lap older mediums. Maybe he can get this move done. This will be for track position. They've both done their 1 required pit stop. And I think these tires will go to the end, even with NYK having 5 lap older, as he picks up a corner cutting penalty. Took the chicane there a little too hard. Let's see. Is he going to be close enough? I don't think so. Calculus had more battery. He was able to defend there pretty well. So it's going to be another go around the circuit, I think, before he gets a real chance to pass. They're pretty close on pace. And like we talked about at the top here, passing is just so difficult, given all the high-speed corners here.
Things are starting to spread out.
Yeah, this is really the only battle on track, so we're going to stay here for now. Everyone else is outside of DRS, so everyone's going to be looking to push. Snowman, he's making up ground still to Kaginis. Kaginis is probably going to come in here, probably 3 more laps, I'd say. Try to make it to the end on 10 laps on those softs. If he comes in right now, he falls to P8, I believe. Just looking at the deltas. So I think still a decent outcome considering he wasn't able to set a qualifying lap. NYK is a second off of his fastest time. I think that shows you how much Calculus is just holding him up. NYK really wants to get around him. 7 tenths, I don't think that's going to be close enough, even with the DRS. He doesn't deploy, so it's certainly not going to be enough. He'll pull up, but he's going to spend another lap in Calculus's dirty air. Snowman is caught up to Kaginis coming through the S's. Kaginis has about 10 lap older tires, 11 lap older tires. And Snowman's saying, "Get out of the way, dude." Gets it done. Yeah, Kaginis, I think, smartly concedes the place going into the Degners. Let's go back on with Kaginis as they come into the hairpin. He's really wanting to get this done, but just doesn't quite have the pace. I think he's trying to save a little battery. And he's going to deploy it all once he gets the DRS. Max has caught back up to Gore a little bit. Now just 2.5 seconds adrift, and Action is losing touch a little more now, 12.6 seconds back. But again, for the Action, as long as he can stay on the podium, he holds on to the lead of the championship, and I believe he'll be in control of the championship going into the final race. But let me check the standings to confirm that. As NYK, I think, is going to be close enough for this move. So let's go on to his T-cam. Calculus gives up the inside, and so that's move done for NYK pretty easily. Calculus didn't really defend.
I was thinking of a late move was potentially coming.
So looking at the standings, if Gore wins this, he has 4 wins. To the Action's 2. So if I'm not mistaken on how the tiebreaker works, that'll actually give Gore the provisional lead of the championship going into the final races. We have yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2. What? I'm not sure. Looks like for Snowman. Yeah, Snowman lost it. Not appearing to have a real fun time. I'm not sure. Does he have wing damage?
Let me look. Yeah, he has no.
He has no wing. So that explains why he was not having a fun time. NYK on Kaginis. This is not for track position, as Kaginis still is not pitted, but he gets the move done into the Casio triangle. I'm not sure if he was ahead, though, in the DRS detection zone. Is his flap open? He went ahead in the DRS detection zone. That was, I think, a strategic mistake. He still obviously is going to be able to be faster than Kaginis, but that lost him a little bit of, I think, ground to Calculus, who would have had the DRS, but now Calculus is stuck behind Kaginis. And because Kaginis is still on the lead lap, just hasn't pitted, he will not get blue flags, so Calculus is going to spend some time here losing ground, as NYK's already put 1.3 seconds between himself and Kaginis. Max burning his battery up to reel in Gore. He's got no battery left, whereas Gore has 60%. So that just shows you Gore's in my game minimized because my printer wants me to update it. I am sorry. Screw you, Windows. Anyway, Calculus is still behind Kaginis, but he's going to get the move done. Maybe he's going to try to do his best Fernando Alonso impression and hang it up. He's going to go down the inside at 130R. Gets the move done. But he now has 2.2 seconds to make up to NYK. Smithy is going to be with the DRS as Kaginis comes in. So Smithy will get some free DRS. Let's see, what does Kaginis go on to here? Got Trundle all the way to the end of the pit lane. Takes the softs as predicted. So he'll have 10 racing laps on the softs. Let's check on Feline. She's still underfueled, as is the NYK. They're both absent a safety car, going to have to lift and coast to finish this race, which will really compromise their pace. And Kaginis does come out in P8, as we expected. But he's going to look to make up that ground. He's the only, well, no, Snowman went on to softs too. He and Snowman are the only two on the softs at the moment, so they're going to look to really pump in these laps, maybe make up some ground, although Snowman's got 24 seconds, 23 seconds to make up. I don't think he's going to do it. We shall see.
The gap between Gore and Max, 1.9 seconds. The gap was 3 seconds at one point.
I think he even got as high as 3.5, yeah. But Max, he's going to be derating. He's got less than 20% battery, so his pace will be compromised even when he's not deploying. He's under standard deploy mode. When you have under, I believe it's 20% battery, you don't get as much of the, I think it's, is it 160 horsepower boost, 180? Maybe I'm overrating that. But you get a little bit of a boost from the electric motor in the hybrid drive system here.
And he gets a little loose coming out of the hairpin. Well, yeah, now the gaps are really starting to form across everybody here. So, unless something drastic happens,
I think this is going to be, yeah, I think this is going to be your finishing order. Kaginis might be able to get around Stewie in the next 9 laps. And maybe Smithy around Calculus, but I don't I think they're going to have too close a pace on each other. Don't want to spoil today's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The last, I don't know, 10, 15 laps were a bit of a barnstormer. So if you haven't watched it, give it a watch. The racing there at the end between the two leaders, I won't even spoil who those were, was excellent. I do think the new regulations for the aero design of the new F1 cars really has achieved its goal of improving the racing. Not a whole lot going on track, speaking of the regulations improving the racing. Now granted, some of this is because we've got basically spec cars in this game. We set it to equal performance. So a lot of the gaps here come down to the relative skill of our drivers. But the dirty air, once you get into about the, I don't know, 1.5 second point, really does come into play still. Is Max
still trying to attack Gore here, but doing it with less than 10% battery. He's got to save. He's got to just hold back for a couple laps here, get that boost built back up, and able to have it at least, you know, for when you're going so fast and not deploying it, getting that little extra boost out of the throttle.
Yeah, I mean, Gore's really not deploying. He's still at 60% battery to Max's 10%. So even if Max were somehow able to get within that DRS, Gore would be able to neutralize it just by pushing that overtake button. So it makes life kind of difficult there for Max.
Lap 21 of 27, so 6 laps to go.
7 if you count the lap we're on, right? Because I believe the lap,
yep.
So. All right. Yeah, I mean, I wish we had more action going on, but these deltas are just getting bigger and bigger. Kaginis is losing ground to Stewie. I believe he was as close as 4 seconds. Now he's down to 7. So the softs really don't seem to be giving him much boost. But Snowman has made up 6 seconds to him. So perhaps is a pace issue for Kaginis. But we will be going back to Suzuka this year in real F1, barring a fall spike in COVID numbers. I have missed Suzuka in real F1. Granted, the racing is not always the greatest, but it is a real driver's circuit. It's fun to watch the drivers go flying through these medium and high-speed corners as fast as they can. Guinness says he's got an underfuel issue. He underfueled as well. So he's lifting and coasting. Feline is off the track. Keep it going, Feline. You'll get a point, as I believe she got lapped there by her teammate. Daniel Ricciardo style. Oh! She loses it again. Those tires are hot. Gotta cool those off. Let's see. Yeah. Not much going on here. Feline picks up a 3-second quarter cutting penalty. Let's see, let's check on the fuel situation. Gore's good, Max is good. Action as well. NYK still underfueled. Calculus good, Smithy good. Stewie's clean. Kaginis is underfueled, so he'll be listed and coasting as well. Snowman's good. And he's really trying to catch up to Kaginis in the Feline Phenom. She's underfueled as well. So, Evie, what do you? I know you race in the iRacing Indy League. What do you guys have going on over there?
Well, this Thursday night, the first round of Apollo Racing Club IndyCar action will happen at Texas Motor Speedway. Should be a good time. 9 o'clock Eastern is when qualifying will start, and the race will happen immediately after. Of course, then Wednesday night. We'll also this Wednesday. Well, not this Wednesday. We're on a break week for a set of F1. But this week we're racing the Formula E car in a set of courses. So if you're interested in that, as well as Saturday nights, there's ACC happening here at Apollo Racing Club with GT3 action. So we're almost back full swing here at Apollo Racing Club. Unfortunately, the F1 season is ending with this being the penultimate race.
And then, speaking of Formula Racing, open wheel racing, we just started up a Formula 4 iRacing League, isn't that right? And there's money at stake, isn't there?
Yep, I think it's a $700 prize pool, and I think it is a full series at this point. I cannot confirm this at this time, but I know it is a very popular series for a lot of people, and some money on the line as well. So come on out, join us on Mondays. I think that's Monday nights is when Formula F4 is happening. Mondays. So we're getting busy here at Apollo Racing Club. We almost have every single night. There's some form of racing happening here. It seems like.
In ACC we have a GT4 league too, don't we?
Yep, GT4 League and in ACC that meets Thursday nights as well. So for all you ACC drivers, you have some options on Thursdays and Saturdays. iRacing has a couple of days as well. F1, Codemasters F1. We have, of course, Tier 1 here on Sundays, and Tier 2 on Tuesdays.
Yep, that is right. So yeah, pretty much any day of the week here at ARC we have racing action. In all sorts of disciplines, whether you want open wheel, GT cars, and then even in Assetto Corsa we have the Road to Glory series, which I believe is a mix of race cars and street cars. So pick your poison. We're down to coming up to the end of lap 24, so we'll have 3 laps here at the end of this lap. So while we're watching this parade, should also mention our sponsor, Driver 61. They do informative analysis of real F1. Scott Mansell. Oh, as Snowman retires. Let's see, we'll see him here. We lost it coming out of the S's, pushing too hard. Too late for a safety car, so that won't save Kaggenis' race. But Kaggenis can rest easy knowing that the worst he will do tonight is P8. As I was saying, though, Scott Mansell at Driver 61, he runs the shop there, I believe. No relation to the famous Nigel Mansell, despite being in racing and having the Mansell name, and being British, I believe. But they also do, for our purposes, sim racing coaching. You can sign up with them and they'll do lessons for you, show you where you can improve. They did a free lesson. I don't think it was Scott himself. They have a panel of instructors. They did a free lesson for some of our now defunct Tier 3 drivers last season, and we got some very good feedback on the quality of the instruction there. So if you check them out using code ARC Driver 61, it's a capital ARC and D, you'll get 25% off. So give them a shout if you want to improve your sim racing skills. As we finish lap 25, start lap 26. Really no improvement on the gaps here. I think Calculus is maybe catching NYK a little bit, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to get into P4. So let's check out the penalty situation.
Only 2 penalties.
Yeah, we've got Max with a 5-second. I don't think Action is going to be able to claw within 5 seconds of Max at this point, but the big one is NYK to Calculus. Calculus is barely within 3 seconds. How's his battery? He's got no battery, whereas NYK has most of his battery, but NYK is still underfueled, so I'm going to stay on with NYK here, because this, I think, is going to end up being the only potential for an order change at the end of this race. With NYK having to lift and coast, he should just be using that battery to make up his pace loss from having to lift. And I see his fuel icon blinking gray and yellow, so he's almost there, but we'll see. Calculus is still within 3 seconds. Gore really pumping in sector times, it appears, pulling away from Max as he starts his final lap. He's already into the S's. Let's see who's going to stand with NYK here, because I think this is the most interesting thing going on track right now. So, Texas, how many races are you guys running in Indy iRacing this season, Evie?
That's a good question. Just bear with me here while I take a quick peek at that. So, start at Texas with a mix of oval and road circuits as well. So,
while you're looking that up, Calculus has dropped beyond 3 seconds behind NYK. That's huge for NYK. But we'll see if NYK is going to have the fuel to finish this up.
And we'll have 12 races this year.
How many oval versus how many road circuits?
Looks like, I think we were doing a 50-50 split, so yeah. We'll start out at Texas, week 2 at Road America, and week 3 at Auto Club, and week 4 we're going to Spa, so.
Ooh, doing International Indy.
Yes.
As Gore finished the race P1. So good on Gore. He will inherit the provisional lead as Max comes across the line. And then the action's going to come across P3. I think NYK is going to be safe to Calculus, but it's going to be close. I see the red flashing icon on his telemetry. But I think he's using all of his battery to make sure he stays safe. Got one corner left. He gets it done. So NYK is going to stay P4. Calculus will come across P5. Good showing from Calculus, going from, I believe, P14 to P5. Just check that. Yeah, 9 spots. So Smithy comes 6th. Stewie on his first week back is going to come across P7. And then Kagenis, who got his fuel situation under control, will come P8. So good showing from everyone here. Let's wait for Kagenis to come across the line. Oh no, Kagenis ran out of fuel. He's in low fuel mode. I think he'll still get across the line, but
he's going to crawl to the start finish.
Using that last bit of battery he's got to power his car to the end. If this were a real F1, he would get a DSQ for not being able to produce 1 liter of fuel. No, is it one? Yeah, it's one full liter. But Calculus gets the driver of the day from the game. And I think I have to agree with Codemasters. Going from P14 to P5, it's a good showing. So your podium, we've got Gore P1, Max P2 in the Aston Martin, and then the action in the Red Bull P3. We will have a barnstormer of a final race, where the final race should always be at Interlagos in 1 week's time. Please join us there. It should be a fun race. Whoever finishes ahead between Gore and the action will take the championship. All right, so your finishing order is Gore, Max, and action. Then NYK, Calculus, Smithy, Stewie, Kagenis. Those are your only finishers. Snowman, Feline, Ruda, Rogue, SoCal, and Hawaii Life all DNF'd. Let me get the incidents. There's not as many as I was expecting, considering all the incidents that happened. Looks like a lot of 1 stops. Thank you for joining me, Adam. Have a great evening.
Thank you for having me. You too.
And we'll see you all here next week.